to speed and say what. And we mentioned eBay listing templates before, how critically important they are. This is the kind of a checklist you should have on your listing template. It should be simple, visually pleasing. Like a lot of people, they overcomplicate things. Think about the most used website in the planet, which is Google, and what do you see? Mostly white. So keep it simple. And these days, over 70% of people use mobile phones or smart devices to buy items. So you can't have something too complicated. So it needs to have your logo, which we talked about how to get done for $5. You know, a flag, a short story. A short story is what we call the elevator pitch. You've got from 0 to the 10th floor only in an elevator, 0 to 10th floor, to explain what on earth this thing is. Everything should have a short story, whether it's a used item or a new item. You should have a short story, only 0 to the 10th floor, explaining what on earth this thing is. You should have a call to action, why you should buy it right now. A good call to action we've used over the years a lot is, please note the next shipment of these will be more expensive due to the drop of the Australian dollar, or whatever country you're in. The Australian dollar has now dropped to XYZ. And we also use things like Easter sales, Mother's Day sales, Christmas sales, all those things. But you need a call to action. Terms and conditions. A great way to get terms and conditions, just look at 3 prominent eBay sellers, look at their T's and C's, and compile your own from those. Use theirs for inspiration. A return policy, a warranty, payment information, 20 bullet points about the item. Try to always aim for 20 bullet points about each item. The more bullet points you got, the more perceived value that it's got. Everything, you know, even this, you know, this pen, you know, the more things you can put about it, stainless steel, sign, you know, whatever you can put in there, the 20 bullet points makes it more valuable. RRP, if it's got an RRP, recommended retail price. A minimum of 8 pictures, preferably 12 pictures. And the pictures should always be 2 across and then X down. So if you've got 10 pictures, it should be 2 across and then 5 down. Always 2 across by X down. There should be captions on the pictures explaining what on earth the item is in the picture. So when you have a lot of pictures, you tend to zoom in on something and you explain what you're zooming in on. And you can do that again with Canva. Again, you're going to find a lot of your competitors don't do this stuff. Like I said at the beginning, you need one to beat them. But you know, when you've got VAs working for you, they very often say to me, Neil, this competitor hardly got anything. Should I just do this? No. Every single time you fully optimize every listing. And the other great benefit of doing that is you'll find your competitors will just leave you alone. They'll look at your listings, they'll go, oh, I can't compete with that, and they'll just walk away and move to the next one. And that's another great reason to fully optimize them. And of course, learn it yourself and outsource. The template should have nothing to click. We call it buy or leave. There's nothing to click. And it's just exactly like you walk into a travel agent's and you want to go to Bali as an example on, you know, August 10 as an example, and you say, and then the travel agent says, oh, have you thought about going to Samoa? Have you thought about going to this place, this place? I mean, no, I haven't, but you might have had your credit card hanging out of your wallet ready to go to Bali. Now you've got a whole load more brochures to read, credit card goes back in. So when people go to your listing, they buy or leave. You give them no distractions. There's nothing else to click. Black text only, because anything else doesn't work well on a mobile phone. No borders. It must work on a mobile, must be mobile responsive. So don't go and find some old template because it's free on the internet. Yeah, that's 10 years old, because it guarantees it will not be mobile responsive. Mobile responsive needs to work on a little, you know, mobile phone, and then someone else has got a 27-inch screen. It needs to work on both. So don't try to save a few bucks by getting some old-fashioned template because it's free. So it must be visually pleasing. And we mentioned before, your template can very, very easily over double your sales. And that's part of the 16 times rule. Get templates done on Fiverr.com for less than $100. All right, and we talked about the impression to sale ratio is low impressions plus high sales. And this gives you what we call the jet stream. This is how you get your listing onto page 1 in the search results, and we call it the jet stream, because the difference between, like I showed at the beginning, between a listing, the 10th highest seller and the number 1 can be a factor of 6 to 10 times the sales. So instead of getting $50,000 of sales of one item, or $20,000 of sales of one item, you can get $200,000 of sales in the same period. Okay, now good news is over 90% of sellers don't optimize. And because there's barriers to entry, we've got to learn how to do this stuff. It's not that hard, you just got to keep doing it. So next thing is, what's the date of arrival of your item? Have a look when your item is going to arrive down here. eBay shows what the day it will arrive. And have a look at your competitor. Because if yours is going to arrive a few days later than your competitor, all things equal, your listing is going to show lower in the search results. Because remember how part of the Cassini was convenience. And if you've got like 3 days handling time and your competitor's got only 1 day handling time, then all things equal, your listing is going to show lower in the search results. Your shipping service, what's your shipping service? You've got, like, if you select, say, Australia Sendle, you'll generally show higher up the search results than someone who's using, say, Australia Post. You can click on here, where it says see details, and you can just compare different postcodes. So if you click on the little hyperlink, a hyperlink for those people who don't know is just anything that's linked. So that's actually hyperlink. You click on it, and when you click on it, bang, you go to this section here, and you can put in here a postcode, any postcode, and it will show you the delivery time and also the cost. So you can compare how is your competitor sending and how are you sending it. And you can put all these different postcodes, compare price and delivery dates. Do you offer express shipping? To get the eBay Premium Service badge to show, which I'm going to go through shortly, you need to offer express. Now, a lot of time express can be a real pain. I know a lot of sellers out there, they offer it, but they make it horrendously expensive. Like this seller's said, yes, we offer it, but it's $1,000. So they've offered it, which keeps the Cassini search engine happy, but no one takes it because it's horrendously expensive. Get the Premium Service badge to show, which is this badge up here on the right. You need to have 4 things in place, and they should be listed here. So free shipping in an express option, 1 day handling time, and a minimum of 30-day returns. And you also need to be eBay top-rated seller. So you're talking about your price. So your price obviously be here. You need to be in the money. It's when we always like to try to always want to match the price of a competitor, and to get initially, if you want to be more aggressive, you start $1 cheaper until you got 5 sales, and this gets the runs on the board, gets the ball rolling. And not only do we go $1 cheaper, but end it with 0.97. So for example, if your competitors say $100, you make yours 98.97. And that's and that way it appears that you're $2 cheaper, but you're 98.97 against $100. And your shipping costs. Just compare what your shipping cost is to your competitor. You can see it down here. Now, next thing is, are you using the eBay postage rates table? And the eBay postage rates table allows you to break Australia into 15 different zones, and it makes you compete. So you can just say, let's say you're based in, say, Melbourne as an example. You can have free shipping just for Melbourne area, and then you can make everyone else in different areas pay. And if you don't have the postage rates table, it's a huge thing. It's a great thing. We're on eBay for years and years and years till they finally released it, and they did. And a year ago, they upgraded so you could have up to 100 different rates tables in one account. I'm not going to go to the rates table now, but again, here's a link showing how to set up the rates table from scratch. Now, next thing is eBay gives the most preferences to when you list an item, you get the most traffic in the first 12 hours and the last 12 hours. So if you don't end up listing an item until, say, midnight, it's a waste if you just list at the end, because you get the most traffic in the first 12 hours. So if you do list an item at midnight, schedule it to start the next day, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, then the 12 hours is not wasted. So always set them up to start and go for the 12 hours. Item specifics. Now, this is a really, really important one. A lot of people shoot themselves in the foot with item specifics. Now, the item specific section is here. Now, if you have identical item specifics to another seller, eBay will automatically figure out this is exactly the same item as that competitor. Now, you may want to compete with that competitor, but you may not. Now, we always talk about only compete with one seller. And the seller that you're competing with usually have the same item specifics as that seller, not the same as another seller that you do not want to compete with. So be very, very careful with item specifics. I'll just go through a couple more questions here. I think we're on time. Let me check. So far, geez, time flies. Okay. So I've got a question here. I am selling on Amazon FBA. I want to sell through eBay and deliver through FBA. I just had an account and sell bright. Not too much luck so far. I guess eBay listing needs to be optimized, etc. Any recommendation how to really go about it? Any link which can help me list the right fashion? So tonight's all about just that, how to optimize your listings. But don't use Amazon to supply eBay sellers. In April last year, eBay specifically said to not use Amazon as a supplier, because the problem is that things rock up in an Amazon box, and that does not look good for eBay. So they did say specifically don't do that. But tonight's all about how to optimize those listings. But I highly recommend do not use Amazon FBA. There's a lot of other 3PLs you can use besides Amazon. It's like you can use Coglin. There's Next Logistics. There's many of them, and I'd highly recommend using another 3PL, but not Amazon. Jake's asked, what specifically are your VAs doing for you? So first, it depends what your business is. It importing or dropshipping? Let's say if it's dropshipping as an example. The first VA does doing researching. So researching with dropshipping, we talk about columns B, C, and D. Column B is your suppliers. Column C is the names of eBay dropship sellers, and column D are the proven items. Items have sold twice or more in the last 30 days. And the research VAs, all they do is just continually grow those three lists. And they give you a report normally every Friday showing you how many they've added to each list. And that way you've got a never-ending amount of items to list. And the other VAs are doing listing. Their job is just to list items from scratch, and that's their task. And then another VA can do your purchase order, so ordering from your suppliers, and they can also be doing your customer support as well. I'll just do one more question, then we'll get back to it. Honey, will this presentation be available as a recording at a later date? Yeah, we'll get around to doing that, yes. All right, so let's keep on moving. Okay, now, zip code mismatch is something that's eBay's recently brought in. And what that means is eBay wants postcodes to show where the things come from. Because, of course, if someone's bought from one location, they want to make sure that they're showing listings that are close to that location. And in your listing, you can put down the zip code or the postcode of where your supplier is or where you're located. So you can go in there and review any listing and put in the correct postcode. Next is, are you in the correct category? Compare your category to your competitors. So up here it shows what category this seat is an example. Are you in the right category? Where are your competitors? What category are your competitors in? It's very, very important. If you're in the wrong category, you can be shown a lot, but your impression to sale ratio will be very low. Very important you're in the right category. Next is your social proof. And like on this particular listing here, it's sold 107 times. If you don't, to get that 107 sold, you need to have your listing set up as what we call GTC, or good till cancelled. Now with a good till cancelled listing, they'll run every 30 days, and after 30 days, they'll automatically relist and they'll keep your social proof. So if you sold, like in this case, 107 of this item, after 30 days, the listing will not end. It will keep going. If your listing ends, that's it. The 107 sold has gone forever, and that's your social proof. And it's exactly like I mentioned at the beginning, like going out to dinner on Saturday night, two restaurants next to each other, one's empty, one's got 107 people in it. Which one do you go to? Normally, to avoid food poisoning, most people will choose the one that's got the people in it. Exactly the same with eBay. Social proof rocks. To make sure for your social proof, you have this enabled, and this is not enabled by standard. You have to enable it. This is what we call the out of stock function. The out of stock function means that if you sell your last item, eBay will not end that listing. But if you leave it default turned off and you've got one item remaining and that item sells, then eBay ends your listing. That's it. You've lost all your social proof. So to find this out of stock function, it's in the site preferences. So you go to My eBay up here on the right, down to account, site preferences at the very top there, and make sure you turn it on. Next is what we call the airline strategy. The airline strategy, also known as scarcity, is making it look like tilting the supply-demand curve in your favor. And that means we don't want to show many items are remaining. So in this particular case, it's almost gone. So you can set it up just like an airline. Let's see about the airline. So the airline strategy is exactly like you walk into a travel agent and you say, I want to go to Bali, you know, whatever date, and they'll say, oh yeah, no problem, there's 10 seats remaining. You go, oh my God, there's only 10. Well, I better get my credit card out now and book it right now. And the airlines have been doing this for over 25 years. So you book your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many seats you want to take, and then you walk out the door and those seats get magically replaced. So the next person who walks in the door of the airline or the travel agents gets told, oh, there's only 10 seats available. And the airlines figured this out over 10 years ago. We can do exactly the same thing. We can create scarcity by making your listings have less. So instead of saying it has more than 10 available, you can say it's only got 1 available, 1 remaining. And eBay will do things like saying almost gone, only 1 remaining, be quick, all sorts of stuff to get people to buy it. You can do it manually just by going in there and changing the number, or you can automate it using a program like Scarcity Manager, which I'll show you in a sec. And the other thing is this, what quantity do you put? And if you look at your competitor, go through their feedback for that item and see how many times they normally sell it. Like in that boat cover, you can pretty much guarantee most people only buy 1 boat cover at a time. But if you sell light bulbs, as an example, or batteries, people buy multiple, so you can't show 1 remaining. So you just got to look at each individual listing and look at your competitor, look through their sales history to see how many competitors sold, and that can tell you how many you should show. Can I go down to 1? Because 1 works the best. But if they're selling multiples, then you need to show that. I hope that makes sense. So you can do it automatically through Scarcity Manager, or you can do it manually yourself. Next is, so sponsored listings. Sponsored listings rock. Now, of everything we can do on optimization, like everything in life, the 80-20 rule comes into play. You get 80% of the results from 20% of what you do. Sponsored listings is one of those things, it's a needle mover. Yes, it costs money. So with a sponsored listing, eBay puts your listing up higher in the search results. It costs money, but unlike conventional advertising, you only get charged when items sell. So, you know, if you go and advertise, you know, in the newspaper, or, you know, you do Google pay-per-click advertising or Facebook pay-per-click advertising, you pay money no matter what. Doesn't matter whether people buy or not, you still pay money. With eBay, you only pay when it sells. Doesn't sell, you pay nothing. So eBay, eBay will give you a recommended amount, a suggested amount, and that's somewhere between 1% up to 20%. You never pay that much though. And down here, it shows you here, you can put your amount in of whatever eBay suggests. So as you can see, it's trending around 6.3, 4.7. Now, a big thing to remember here though is eBay will normally only ever bill you around 40% of the time, as in 40 as in, you know, 4 out of 10. And that dramatically changes the math. So you will not get billed every time. Normally on average around about 4 out of 10. So even if something at 6%, you're only going to get billed around 4% of the time. I'm not going to get to know why that happens because it's a bit of a long, convoluted story, but it's around about 40%. Highly recommend sponsored listings. I've seen many times, many people I've coached over the years see their sales bump up by over 30% by doing sponsored listings. It makes a big difference. So try to always accept the trending rate until you got the first 5 sales. And like I mentioned, you only get billed around 40% of the time. Next thing is, do you have an eBay store? You store categories. If you do have a store, you can have on here eBay stores, and then you've got all the different categories. And with your categories, you should name your categories to relevant keywords. because everything by default will all go in the other category. So name your store categories for SEO, and that helps Google spider eBay and find your listings. So when people search on Google, Google to find your eBay listings. So make sure you have the things in the right category with the right keywords. Another awesome thing to do is multi-variation listings. If you sell, let's say you sell these 7 t-shirts, you have the choice of setting up, well, actually got a lot more than 7 here because you got different sizes, you've got different colors, so you could have 20 different t-shirts. So you've got the choice of, you could have 20 separate listings, or you can have one listing with multi-variations. And the question always comes up, which one sells the best? On average, multi-variations always sell best. Not always, but normally always they sell better. The reason why is the social proof, because you've got 20 items. Every time one of those 20 sells, it will show here, like this particular listing here has got 14,000 sold. If it had 20 different listings, obviously it wouldn't be 14,000 sold. You'll find, like everything in life, one t-shirt would sell best. Perhaps it's the black men's large t-shirt is the #1 seller. So that one has the most feedback. Then it'll go all the way down to the worst seller, which could be, I don't know, the green small t-shirt sells the worst. I don't know. And that's the way it works. So the green small t-shirt would have very low feedback, whereas the black one's got huge. So generally, put them all into a multi-variation listing works best. I'm not going to go into multi-variation listings tonight because I've done that before again, but if you want to know how to set up a multi-variation, I've got a whole step-by-step, and again, like everything else, these are all free, so you can take a photo of that link, and it will show you step-by-step how to set up a multi-variation listing from scratch. So before we wrap tonight, I'll just take a few questions. So Julie's asking, what in today's climate, what do you recommend, importing, FBA or drop shipping? And these days, at the moment, drop shipping is rocks, because we can use, you only use local suppliers. And because you only use local suppliers, you're not getting caught up with any issues about items not being coming from China or wherever else. You can also pivot to the very fast to what's selling the best. It's much harder when you've just imported a whole load of, I don't know, suitcases as an example, and now of course the market's dropped out of suitcases. So with dropshipping, you can just instantly move to the hottest selling items. So we've seen the biggest growth of not just our businesses, but the people and the members of the groups that I'm involved with and the people I coach. I've seen the biggest movers and shakers have been with dropshipping at the moment. Next one, do you recommend the multi-variation listings if I have only 2 items? Yeah, even with 2 items, yes, I do. Multi-variations normally work the best because the social proof, highly recommend them. Dennis has asked, how do you get social proof when you're just starting on eBay? eBay doesn't allow you to promote your listing. So when you're starting out, just start buying and selling stuff. Change your buying habits. Everything if you've got a partner or going to buy, talk about it, consider buying it through eBay instead of driving to your local mall. Around 40% of people will give you feedback, and that gets your social proof up for your business, as in the amount of feedback you got. And also start selling a few things. It's awesome experience. I mentioned this at the beginning. Find some stuff that's collecting dust. We've all got stuff, whether it's sitting in the garage or wherever you've got some place. Most people got stuff collecting dust. Think about selling it. It gives you more social proof. It's a great way to go. Okay, just the last one is Glenn's asking, do you recommend the rates table? Yes, I do highly recommend the rates table. Highly recommend it. It's one of those things that most people will not do it. The more times you do things that other people don't do, the average Joe Blow, when they start, all they want to do, they'll come to me and they'll say, Neil, I want to get into eBay. I want to start selling small, cheap items. I want to sell, USB cables or iPhone covers, and it's like, so does everybody else. And it's just get away from that stuff. Move away from what every man and his dog is doing. Rates tables, yeah, most people just avoid it like the plague. So make yourself a coffee, a little snack, and sit there, watch that video showing you how to do it, and figure it out. It's not that hard. Just do it, and then you'll leave so many people behind. I said last one, but I'll just do one. Carmel's asking, if you have an old personal eBay account, can that be revived and used in a new business? Totally. You can definitely use, if you've an old eBay account, totally, you can change it, rename it, you can change the name of it. Now change the name every 30 days. Yep, if you've got an old one, awesome. Yep, dig it out, you can use it. It says thanks, you're welcome, guys. I hope you got something out of that. Yes, I will send you through a link about how you can get the slides for that. I hope you learned something. And just before I wrap it up too, just a couple more things here. So like it says here, most people overestimate what they can do in the short term, but they way underestimate what they can do in the long term. When we started off, my first item I sold was an old rusty socket set. I didn't imagine that we'd be doing this full time 20 years later. Or for the last 20 years, I should say, not 20 years later, but it just start off and just get into it. And it all comes down to this, baby steps, just one little baby step at a time. A lot of people say to me, you know, how much time should I commit to this? If you can commit 5 minutes a day, you'll get there. It's exactly like building a Lego set. If you buy a Lego set, if you start on page 1, if you only do 5 minutes a day, you will 100% finish that Lego set. But what most people do is they go and buy 5 Lego sets and they stick them all on the lounge room floor. Dog goes through, scatters all the pieces. That's exactly what they do in business. They have all these things on the go and they just don't focus on one. Success comes from what we say no the most to. So doing least amount. So just focus on 5 minutes a day. If you do any more than 5 minutes, it's a bonus. It really is. So thank you guys. Hope you got something out of it. Have a fantastic night. Stay safe and talk to you soon. All the best.